Welcome back everyone to another episode of Cooking with JJ. We're finally getting to see a bit of warmer weather around here, and nothing gets me in the mood for sun more than these beautiful, juicy heirloom tomatoes. In this week's episode, I'm making an ultimate heirloom tomato tart. It's vegan, of course, and it's gluten-free. Be sure to stay tuned all the way through to find out if this gluten-free crust can hold its own, or will it turn into a soggy, sloppy mess. I'm really excited to get started, and of course, try it in the end. So without further ado, let's head over to the kitchen and get cooking! First of all, we have 1.5 cups worth of our Dainty gluten-free all-purpose flour, a half a teaspoon of xanthan gum. I find a little extra helps even though it's already in the flour. And a half a teaspoon of sea salt. Whisk up the dry ingredients. I chilled our vegan butter in the freezer for about 15 minutes, and I'm using about a half a cup's worth. This is the Farm Boy brand. Cut it in with a metal utensil. And we're going to add our ice water little by little. We'll add it in tablespoon by tablespoon. Starting off with 2 tablespoons. Now I've added 7 tablespoons of our ice water. See how it comes together. This may vary depending on your humidity. It's ideal if your hands are cold. And I ended up adding a couple more tablespoons. I'm adding a teaspoon of our apple cider vinegar. Wrap the dough tightly in saran wrap and pop it in the fridge for 30 minutes. Since I couldn't find silken tofu that also had the label firm on it, I'm using silken tofu and find out what I'm gonna do. I'm also using medium firm tofu. We're gonna drain these tofu blocks carefully, press them gently. Then I simply place them on a rack over a plate so they could drain the rest of the way. I'm going to be using our Dainty feta cheese crumble. It's very convenient to have it in this form. I'll be using a cup's worth. I'll be using a 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast. This will give us our nice umami flavor. I have some fresh herbs here. I'll be using some basil and some thyme. And some fresh dill. Mince 5 cloves of garlic. I'm slicing up our herbs. To make our heirloom tart sing with sunshine, we're getting our freshly squeezed lemon juice. And we'll use 2 tablespoons worth. And I'm using 1 tablespoon of our red wine vinegar. To our bowl, I'm adding a block of our silken tofu and 3/4 of a block of our medium firm, Pour in the herbs and the minced garlic. And the nutritional yeast. I know it looks like a lot, but you gotta trust me on this. Add in your red wine vinegar. Start mashing it up. We're not adding our lemon juice quite yet. You'll see why. I'm whisking in 1 tablespoon of cornstarch with our lemon juice. This will help to bring everything together nicely for a perfect filling texture. Add your salt and your pepper. And we're adding our lemon juice slurry. Give it one final good mash. Don't overdo it though, we still want a nice texture. As for the vegan feta, I'm just gonna mix it in. No need to mash this up. Just make sure it's evenly incorporated. You can pop it in the fridge cupboard while you work on the dough. I removed the dough from the fridge and now it's time to roll it out. I'm going to roll it out between 2 pieces of parchment paper. I couldn't find my large rolling pin at first, so I was using this small one. Then I checked again and I found my large rolling pin. Fix any little patches and get it to the shape you want it. As long as it covers the pie plate, that's the main thing. You don't want it to be too thick or too thin, just right. You can always make adjustments, just as I'm doing. Fix any little cracks. And trim off the excess. Now we're going to do our blind bake. Place a piece of parchment paper on top of your pie crust and pour in your pie weights or your dry beans. If you use the dry beans, it's not recommended that you cook them to eat them later. You can just keep them for pie weights. Our oven has been preheated to 400 Fahrenheit. I'm only blind baking this for 10 minutes. This will allow the crust to be firm enough and not puffy, which is the objective. Yellow heirlooms are often described as having a milder, almost fruity sweetness, while the red ones are more acidic. And if you're looking for something deep and savory, almost smoky, look for the deep, stunning purple ones. They add a wine-like depth. As for the green ones, they're bright and tangy, sometimes described as spicy. They really convey that crisp, Granny Smith vibe. Our blind bake stage is done, so we'll remove our beans. Don't spill the beans! We'll bake the pie crust for a further 5 minutes without the beans. This will be sufficiently firm, but not overbaked. We're finished with our blind bake, now we're reducing the heat to 350 Fahrenheit. Now with our washed heirloom tomatoes, we're slicing them as thin as we can. Did you know there's a 1951 rule with the heirlooms? The tomato seeds must be traceable back to 1951, a firm standard by groups like the Seed Savers Exchange. Many purists even push it back further to 1945. Heirloom tomatoes must also be open pollinated by bees, the wind, or by nature in general. We've allowed our pie crust to cool enough so that we can add our filling. You don't want to worry about excess moisture. Fill up the pie crust and even it out. Feel free to oil the edges a bit if you wish to have a little bit of browning. Now for our final round of baking. Remember, our heat is at 350 Fahrenheit, and we'll bake it for about 12 minutes. I patted our tomatoes dry so we don't add too much moisture. Lay them out nicely around the pie. You want to let your pie cool before placing on your tomatoes. Add some of the basil and the fresh thyme. And I drizzled some balsamic on top. Now for the moment of truth. And I got the first piece out. It's that time again, everyone. It's time to try our ultimate heirloom tomato tart. Juicy, savory, delicious. Gotta love that balsamic glaze. It's just a perfect finishing touch. And you know, it worked out without the blender. I was gonna do this by blending things up, and it actually worked out. I kind of like this texture, this bit of texture to it. It's nice, it's not perfectly smooth. It gives it more character. The crust turned out nice. A lot of people have problems with gluten-free crust. I was glad that it stayed together, and it's great. So there you have it, everyone. Another delicious recipe to add to your recipe booklets. And it happens to be gluten-free as well, so there's a bonus for you. Remember, if you like this video in any way, shape, or form, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel, and hit that little bell notification icon so you don't miss a single video. Until next time, this is JJ signing off, keeping things interesting in my kitchen and in yours. Bon appetit.